Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Maanta waxaan halkan aan ugu yimaaday anagoo Dery Foundation oo magaalada Birmingham ka shaqeyna oo dadka Soomaalida sidii ay codkooda loo maqli lahaa hadii ay noqoto local authorities ka police-ka. Maanta halkan waxaan ugu soo booqday Birmingham West Midland Crime Commission Mr. David Jameson and his policy officer Mina and ka hadlayay maanta programkan aan sameeyno oo RJ la yiraahdo Restorative Justice Supporting Victims in Crime dadka dhibanayaasha Soomaaliyeed ee West Midland ka jooga si wanaagsan ayuu uga hadlay uu yiri wuxuu support gareynayaa dadka Soomaalida ee joogta magaalada Birmingham waxa kale oo ka hadlay aan kala hadalnay laba su'aalood oo weydiinay mid waxay ahayd reportka dadkeena lagu dhibaateynayo especially Birmingham ee wadamada magaalooyinka kale ka dhoofaya iyo caruuraheena dhibaateysan ee jeelasha ku jira David James, thank you so much for coming to Dery Foundation space and we appreciate the time you have given us and as a community we would like to ask what restorative justice is in your opinion so that the community will know what it is and explain a bit more details.
Well, firstly, can I thank you for inviting me here today, and can I thank you for the work that you're doing as well. I know you're doing some very difficult work and you know, I do commend you for that. What really restorative justice is about bringing together the person who's been a victim of crime and somebody who has done that crime, the perpetrator of that crime, and bringing them together to try and find some sort of resolution. Now usually this is only, when it's of that type, it's usually only with the victim's permission that this happens, and sometimes for the victim to be able to explain to the person who's done the damage to them is that explanation can help them get over their problems, but it can also help the person who's done the damage, the perpetrator, can help them get a better understanding of the harm that they've caused. That's one type of restorative justice. Sometimes people in a community fall out with each other for reasons which aren't always understandable to people outside. It's often through misunderstanding, people who are suspicious of each other for one reason or another, and sometimes restorative justice is a way of bringing those people together so that they resolve things by talking and understanding each other rather than by getting into violence. So it's about getting people to get a better understanding of each other so that they don't then find themselves in conflict or violence.
Now, as a Somali community, this will be used in West Midland and Birmingham, especially area, and we would like the community to know, you know, to have this opportunity to come and if anybody has been victimized in any crime, especially minor ones, to come and speak to us as Dery Foundation with the support that you have given the organisation in this project.
Well, that's very important. The Dery Foundation, you're doing good work, and you've got to reach out really to those people who are more difficult to reach. I think what has happened for your community, if you've come, very often people have come from a war-torn area, you've come from an area where there have been real difficulties and problems for people conducting their life. And I think the challenge then is some people are bringing some of that conflict with them from their home country to here. That's one area, and it's getting that understanding of British society and fitting into British society, but being different, but on the other hand understanding how things are done and better ways of working, and trying to put aside some of the conflicts and difficulties there being between groups. And I think that's one thing for you to resolve. I think if you look back even in British society here, if you look back in time, things were different in the past, and we've all had to work to make change. And really, in the end, it's good people in the community doing good things will make bad things go away. And this has been a difficulty for a lot of communities, is the distance there is between children and parents. and the understanding, children have a different understanding very often of the parents, and it's getting that understanding of parents how to deal with their children in this new setting, in a new country to them, and that is a challenge, and it's been a challenge for many communities that have arrived in this country. It's been a challenge for the British community over the years to understand, how parents and children haven't grown apart, but there's different things prevail. Society is changing so rapidly that different things happen, and we have to deal with our children differently from perhaps how our grandparents and great grandparents did.
We often hear what's called Islamophobia on the media, but we have here in our community what I might term as police phobia.
Right.
Whereby the community has phobia in working with the police and with the social services. That reconciliation is required if we want to tackle the crime committed by youth people. How are you going to handle and deal with this issue?
No, that's a very good question, and police forces around the world are very different. And we even find people who've come from Eastern Europe, their police forces in Poland and many of the old communist countries, their police forces are much different from how they are here. In Somalia and Africa, again, huge differences between policing in Africa and here. And I've been to Africa and I've seen the policing there, and it is a different style of policing. I think in this country that there's not by everybody, but large numbers of people trust and cooperate with the police. So when there are problems, the police are not just there to lock people up and deal with crime, to deal with policing and people who've committed crime, but a lot of the work we're doing now is prevention of crime and actually getting an understanding of communities, and sort of the work that you're doing in bringing people together to actually reduce the crime and reduce the conflict between people. We are working very hard indeed to, firstly, that our own police force is more representative of the people of the country. So a third of the people now in the West Midlands are from ethnic minority communities. We want the force over time to be more reflective of that, so reflective of the cultures and the people that we have in the area. But also the police officers now in their training, they have to have a much greater understanding of the diverse communities we've got and what the challenges and difficulties are. And this is why we've put this grant into the Dery Foundation to help yourselves overcome some of the challenges and problems that you have had with crime in your community.
Young people joining extreme and radicalization in West Midlands, especially with the Somali community, how would you address the young people not to travel to Syria or join Al-Shabaab?
Well, that is very worrying, to think that a young person could be travelling into what is a war zone. And I think the first thing is, I think a lot of them don't have a full understanding of just what they're going into. This isn't going to be a place where they're going to live in peace and harmony. This is a place where many of them, if not most of them, will actually die, and that will bring pain to their families. It'll just make things worse in the country they're going to. So the first thing is, if people are being tempted by that, it's for the families and the community to work together to talk to those young people so they get a real understanding of what's happening. The big challenge is that it's not happening now. Even 5-10 years ago, a lot of the radicalisation was happening by word of mouth. Now it's happening on the internet. It's happening because we're all connected to the internet, and it's parents and community leaders having an understanding of what's going on and what the influences are on young people, and actually trying to counter them. But going to a war zone will only bring pain, hardship and death for the person, almost certainly, who goes there. And the people they meet, suddenly they find that it's not what they thought. It is a very, very different, violent, nasty world, and it's nothing to do, what the standards that people talk about is nothing to do with Islam.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you both for your questions.
Thank you for your time.